Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, good morning and welcome into a Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show. As we got some Lightning to talk about, another road loss for them. What the hell's going on with the Lightning? Big game for the Buccaneers. Nobody cares about this game on this planet except Bucs fans and Texans fans, but that's okay. It's a big one for the Buccaneers. We got lots of college football to get to as well. Florida State on the road at Pitt this weekend. If they don't win by 50, then they'll probably be knocked down to the polls, which they should win by 50 anyway. Florida's got a big game, so lots to get to. We got some Rays stadium news that Nick doesn't want to hear. But on that note, I'll welcome you in. Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's a football Friday.
It is indeed.
We're about to be halfway through the season, so there's not going to be too many of these the way
I
things
know.
are going with the Bucs right now.
I know.
So
and college football, I feel like college football is almost over.
Right.
Even though we got a long way to go, obviously, to the and especially if you're a Florida State fan, your season's not going to end in early December this year, or at least January 1st. So this could be the year. I can't even wrap my arms around that, to be quite honest with you. It's losing to Jacksonville State doesn't seem like that long ago, and now here you are as a Seminole fan back in the national championship hunt. Very much so. It's a little surreal, to be quite honest, but it is what it is, and they have as good a shot as any. I haven't looked at the Vegas odds yet lately, but I think they've got the 4th or 5th best odds to win the national championship. It's like, why not us? And that's crazy. That's crazy to think about that. So anyway, Pat Burnham's going to join us at 11 o'clock. We will chat with him about all things Florida State, not necessarily just about this game, but last week's game against Duke, and now looking forward to Miami as well. And we have another special guest joining us today, Nick Geddes. Who would that be?
That would be none other than my aunt, Jane Geddes, former 2-time LPGA major champion, high-ranking executive at WWE, and now real estate agent, who is the newest sponsor of the JP Peterson Show. That's
right. We're welcoming in a new sponsor here, Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group. And she is just a delight to chat with. And we're going to talk with her about all things golf, real estate, and I think Nick will even get her to talk some wrestling. You think?
I mean, last time I was on, I got a soccer talk on this show. So
You did.
I'll force my way into a little wrestling talk if I see fit.
A quite extensive one, I might add. Maybe the most extensive we've ever had here on the JP Peterson Show, but welcomed it. You guys did a great job with that. Still have no idea what you're talking about. All right, so we want to get into it right off the bat here. A couple of notes as the Bucs are heading to Houston to take on the Texans. The Texans are so beat up on the offensive line, Nick, that there's absolutely no chance, and I mean 0 chance, that the Buccaneers can lose this game. Is that fair?
I'm not going to go that far. I'm not making any guarantees with this Bucs team right now where they are. And you mentioned the offensive line, and that's the big storyline going in this game. And I think a lot of people are like, okay, if the Bucs are going to get pressure, it's going to happen in this game. But let me just point out that the Texans do not give up sacks. In fact, they're giving up sacks. I think they're in the top 10 of giving up the least amount of sacks in the league. And they've only given up 4 sacks since the first 2 weeks of the season when they gave up 11. And they're doing this with a makeshift offensive line. And if you go back to week 4, they faced the Steelers. Crazy. They faced the Steelers, which have a very good front, TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. And they gave up 0 sacks to that group in week 4 with a makeshift O-line. So I know that everybody's like focusing on that and the Bucs are going to get pressure and this is the week, but the Texans, to their credit, and a lot of this probably goes to CJ Stroud as well, for getting the ball out quickly and making the right plays, that they're just not allowing a lot of sacks. So I don't know if that's going to be the easiest thing for the Bucs, even with this makeshift O-line.
Well, I think a lot of those games obviously are earlier in the year, and now this is, I mean, their freaking injury report here. And as we chatted yesterday with IndyCar Tim, who covers the Texans for Sports Illustrated, I mean, Laramie Tunsil was limited and probably will not play. He's got a knee, or if he plays, he's going to be severely limited. Josh Jones, one of the other tackles, has a hand. He did fully participate, but obviously has some issues there. Titus Howard, another tackle, limited. George Fant, full practice yesterday. So these guys are practicing, but beat up. And again, if they cannot get some pressure this week and do something against this line, got major issues. And the good news is Tristan Wirfs, full participation yesterday. Vita Vea, full participation. Kayvon Merriweather was limited. Keefe was limited. Oh, no. Matt Filer did not participate. That's a good thing. Nothing personal. Logan Hall did not participate with a groin injury. So, relatively speaking, I'd say the Bucs are going to be pretty good. And they should – this is a must-win for them. This is an absolute must-win. And if they are even remotely serious about winning this division, you cannot lose at this point to the Houston Texans. Cannot do it. And Baker Mayfield has got to be better. And this is the thing. If Baker doesn't go out and play, I would say, if I'm saying it's got to be a 7 or 8 out of 10 for me. And if that doesn't happen, I'm really starting to look to Kyle Trask. If this team loses this game and Baker doesn't play well, and when you turn on the tape, he's still holding the ball, he's not seeing the field, at 3-5, you make the move. You make the move to Kyle Trask. Am I wrong?
I mean, I said that I would give him through the San Francisco game. I think that's fair. I'll let him play against Houston. I'll let him play against Tennessee and see if, at the very minimum, you have to split Houston and Tennessee. At the minimum. Ideally, you'd like to take both of those. But the Bucs
Titans
are right now.
did not look great last night. They did not look great last night.
Well, yeah, the Titans look a lot better, to be fair, with Will Levis back there than they did with Tannehill. He's going to go through his rookie lumps. There's no doubt about that. But I still think their ability to throw the ball down the field a little bit and be a little bit less reliant on Derrick Henry, they're able to do that with Will Levis. So I don't think it's going to be an easy game by any means for this Bucs team. But at the very least,
bad matchup. At
the very least, they've got to split Houston and Tennessee because I think we're all accepting. And to be fair, the 49ers have dropped 3 in a row. We've seen it. Any team can beat any team in this league on any given week. But we're not exactly going to expect it to happen against San Francisco on the road.
Correct.
And I wouldn't want to put Kyle Trask out there in that situation.
Not his first start, certainly.
If it got to it. So the way I'm looking at it, and I said it, I think Monday, I'm giving Baker Mayfield through that San Francisco game and to see where you are. Because let's say you lose all 3 of these games or something like that, and you're riding a 6-game losing streak and it's pretty much over, then it's a no-brainer. You make that move. But for right now, you stick with Baker and see if he can improve a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not going to start him against San Francisco on the road to give his first start on. That's not happening. I think you're probably right. That would be ideal. Wait to see these next 2 games. But if this gets really ugly, like this week against the Texans, then I make the move. I make the move at home against the Titans. Now, the Titans aren't a great matchup for the Buccaneers because they run the football well. They're a physical team. Those are teams that the Bucs have struggled against. So I just, I think everything should be on the table right now, but I don't think it is, to be quite honest. I don't think it is. I think this is a status quo football team. It was status quo at the trading deadline. They did nothing with a roster that clearly needs some tweaking, to say the very least. There were things you were able to do in salary cap and with some future considerations that you could have gotten done. Chase Young would be at the absolute top of that list for me. They need something like that. They need a guy like that. They need some size, some speed, something coming off the edge. And, you could have basically done what the 49ers are doing and rent him for the second half of the season because you're going to get it.
For what, though? For what? I mean, this Buccaneer team at the very best is going to get fortunate to host a playoff game if they can somehow pull off this division. and then we would all tell you they're probably not going to win that playoff game. I mean, that's kind of what their ceiling is. So what I don't have a problem.
It doesn't cost you anything though, except $500,000. I mean,
I just feel like
you
that's
give up a
player.
conditional third. You're going to get a conditional third back. Maybe you woo this guy and get him to sign a long-term deal. Get him in your building at least. Let him enjoy Tampa Bay.
But I don't think Chase Young is anywhere near that type of player you want to pay. I personally don't.
That's down the road. His injury concerns are what they are. But he's the type of player that you don't have and you desperately need. And if he's available, go out and do something to juice up your team. I mean, what they did was uninspiring, nothing, which is what they've done most of this year, uninspired. I need something to give this team a little bit of life. I need something to give them some life off the edge. I just think it would have been, that's why the 49ers went out and did it,
Well, the 49ers are a team that's going to be competing for a Super Bowl. I mean, that's my point. The Bucs are not there. To me, that's a player that you add when you feel like one guy away or something like that. If it was any
future considerations, every significant future considerations, I wouldn't do it. But like I said, you're basically renting the player because you're going to get a conditional third back.
I don't know. I didn't see the need for it. And to me, my thing with the Bucs,
our pass rush is good.
I see the need from that standpoint. He would help the pass rush out. I'm just saying I don't think it's worth the investment for a team that I think has a pretty hard ceiling on it. And I think the Bucs, there's a lot of things that they have at their disposal they can control. And that starts with putting your players in the best situations to succeed. And I keep going back, and I'm sure y'all have talked about it the last couple days. And I think Todd Bowles mentioned this during his, Wednesday press conference. And, we're focusing so much on the man coverage and the zone coverage and things like that. And it sounds like the way I'm interpreting it is they're playing more zone to accommodate for the shortcomings of one player, Mr. Ryan Neal. And for the life of me, JP, I can't figure this out. Help me if I'm off base here. I got two corners on this team who are making a combined $30 million, right?
Right.
And their strength is playing man-to-man press coverage, correct?
Yes, you are correct.
But we're not doing that. We're playing more zone to accommodate a player who is making $1.2 million on a one-year deal who was waived by his previous team, wonder why. Mm-hmm. And that's the player that we're going to move our defense around to cover up. And to the point that you're making the two other corners who are making a lot of money worse by doing that. So instead of having one deficiency in the back end, now you have three. Am I off base with anything I'm saying here?
No.
Now tell me,
you're 100% correct.
So tell me how that is conducive to playing winning football.
Listen, Todd Bowles has been a defensive coordinator for a long time in this league. And, but this doesn't make any sense to me. Nor does it make sense when you were asked about Devin White. You say, oh, he's playing fine, but, he's setting up other players to make plays. I mean, that's just laughable. That's not what's going on out there, and it's not just me saying it. It's a lot of different people saying it for a long time. And when you say things like that, the fans lose confidence in you as a coach. Either you're covering up for a guy, which is bad, or you can't be honest with the media or the fans, or you're just not holding anybody accountable. You really think that Devin White is making you a better football team. No.
And by the way, and I know a lot of people are talking about, well, it looks like Devin's injured out there because he doesn't look as fast as he was in previous years. But let me just point that out. That kind of is a big problem with Devin. Number one, if he's not, what's Devin's strong? It's his speed, right? We will say that. Devin has speed when he wants to. I won't say it always shows up on film because sometimes he plays a little slower than I think he is and gets beat off blocks and stuff like that. But his number one thing is his speed and, supposed to be flying to the football and all that.
Right.
Well, let's just say he's nicked up a little bit, and now that speed's been taken away. The problem with Devin White is he's a one-trick pony.
Right.
And you take that away from him, he has nothing else to go back to. Whereas a guy like Levante David, I mean, I'm sure 10 years ago, Levante David was a faster football player, but you know what he is now? He's a smarter football player, and he still can offer so much in so many different ways where Devin White's just not there.
Yeah.
And this is what you get. When Devin White is supposedly nicked up or whatever, and he can't run to his full speed and all that, he's got nothing else to hang his hat on, and now he's a detriment to your defense.
Exactly. And so why do you keep him out there, especially when Gervais Dennis is healthy now? Makes no sense. But I
think they're telling you how much they feel about the death behind Devin White.
Well, no, or they're just playing favorites, and they want to help this kid. And
JP, guess what? If it keeps going this way, you've got 10 games, 11 max to deal with Devin White, and that'll be it.
Yeah,
you just have to hold on.
Yeah, well, and I see people on Twitter like, I wouldn't pay him $20 million, but I pay him 13. I'm like, what?
He's overpaid at 11.25 or whatever it is right now.
It's crazy. So, we'll see what they come up with defensively. But you're absolutely right. I don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. You put it on tape and you're playing, 10, 15 yards off of guys and just allowing completions.
Right. And I think that's why when I talk about this Bucs team so much, I feel like I've honestly talked about the defense more than the offense, and I feel like that's flipped from what a lot of people, because everybody runs to the offense. I know the issues with the offense. Those are easy to point to. Mm-hmm. I can figure those out. But the issues with the defense, which I've been telling you since day one, is way overrated. They're overhyped, and they're not that defense that everybody thinks they are, because look at how many yards they allow in the game. Yeah. And they can't get off the field on third down. We've been through it. I focus on them because it's still, I can't wrap my head around that they have 8 guys on that defense, I think it is, that have been in this system for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. And they still have busted coverages. They still don't communicate well, by the way. I mean, I just can't make sense of that. So that's why I'm so hard on the defense, honestly, more than I am the offense at the moment.
Nope. Look, there's a lot of problems, and winning cures a lot of problems. And you got to go out and put something good together this week against the beat-up Texans team that has no business winning this game. They've beaten other teams, obviously, and C.J. Stroud has been very impressive, but this is a game you should go out and dominate, quite frankly. You should dominate and start doing the things. We saw some positives last week from Rachaad White. I want to see Rachaad White get a 100-yard game. I want to see this offense score a touchdown in the first quarter, for God's sakes. I want to see them go out on a scripted drive, execute well, don't have any penalties, and put the damn ball in the end zone. Is that too much to ask for a first quarter touchdown on, if you get a couple possessions? Jesus. How about we play with a lead for once in this league?
I just don't think they're capable of. I'm not expecting them to go out there and dominate. They're not capable of dominating many teams in the NFL right now. They're just not. They're going to win ugly. I just accepted it, JP. If they're going to win football games, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be ugly. There are things that are going to make me question what's going on in one Buck every single week, and it's just going to be, hopefully they can hold on. They kind of remind me, JP, of I don't know if you watched it last night, the Steelers and Titans.
I watched a little bit of it, yeah.
The Bucs remind me so much of what the Steelers kind of are.
Yeah.
Except
both the Steelers teams know how to win games.
But the Steelers, at the end of the day, they'll muck it up. Kind of how the Bucs do. Yeah. They'll muck it up, but they'll find a way to win the football game, and that's why they sit here at 5-3, and the Bucs sit here at 3-4. But both are undisciplined. Both have coaching issues, whether it's theirs is on the offensive side of the ball. Ours seems to be with putting guys in the right situations to succeed. But they win those games. The Bucs don't. So I've just kind of accepted that's just going to how it be. It's not going to be crisp with this football team, I don't think.
Oh, no, not this year. You would hope that, with some of the veteran presence on this team that they could get into a rhythm. But we're 7 games in. What's the identity of this team? Exactly. It's the defense is pretty good in the red zone. They're opportunistic. If you listen
to Todd Bowles, he tells you, we're at our best, we're a physical football team and all this stuff. And I couldn't disagree anymore. I'm not sure what he's watching.
God, when he said that, I was like, if I felt like I was watching the Mayorkas interview at the border. Oh no, everything's fine here. We're all good. No, there's nobody coming. No, we're a very physical football team. We're explosive. I'm like, oh my God, what are you watching? What are you watching? And I guess he has to say that, but man, it just looks really, really weird. and sounds really, really weird. I don't know. There's a lot that has to be fixed this week, and I'm not completely.
And keep in mind, by the way, the Bucs. I mean, we talked about it, the mismatch on paper, at least, of the offensive line for the Texans. But I tell you what, when it comes to the Bucs offense, this is a much improved Texans defense under D'Amico Ryans in this first year. And you know what they do well, JP? Their number one strength on defense is they stop the run. They stop the run. So I'm looking at it already, and the Bucs have already told you we're not a running football team. We don't do it as well as we thought we were, and now they've got to pass to win.
But Bowles said they are a running football team. The quarterback said they're not, but Bowles said they are.
Yeah, well, they're not. They're not.
It's a disaster.
So again, this is another game where I think you're going to be asking Baker to throw potentially 35 times at least to win the football game, and I think you're going to lose most games when you have that kind of game plan.
We shall see. Let's go to some comments real quickly. Good morning to all our commenters. Lonnie Wilkins says, JP, the team I mentioned yesterday I work for is the Joliet Slammers, named after the prison from the Blues Brothers up the street. I love that. Yes. Joliet Jake, been broadcasting games for 7 years. Excited for Bill Murray. Dude, that is so fun. That is so fun. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, Nick, but Lonnie's team got bought by Bill Murray and the Mike Veck group. So, yeah, so now they're going to be part of the Joliet Slammers. You guys going to start doing more Savannah Banana stuff? I think you should do that. I think you should go full Savannah Banana. I think Bill Murray would like that too. I need a Royal Rumble Devil Rays logo collab. I don't know what that means.
The Royal Rumble, JP, coming to the Trop, and we're 2 months away.
What is it? What are the tickets, like $8,000 a piece?
Oh, they're not cheap. They are not cheap.
I've heard, yeah. Bucs Basement says, until the Bucs show me otherwise, I believe they can win games. Stroud's game plan is easy. Target 45 and 23, the same game plan the Titans will have. Well, you know how you mess that up? Take him off the field. Can you imagine that? CJ Stroud goes out there. They've devised their entire game plan to go after those two guys, and they see D. Delaney and Servassier Dennis. Now what? They'd still do the same thing. They'd be like, these are backups. Now we can really get after them. Then they'll find out that they're way better than the guys that were starting. I was
going to say, how about take the ball away a little bit? But,
Yeah.
According to Todd Bowles, when we play zone coverage, we don't see as well, apparently. So
my question is this. How could it be worse by putting these new guys in? How could it be worse?
The best game the Bucs played on defense all year was D. Delaney was back there.
Right.
Against the Saints.
Yes, thank you. Bucs Basement continues. It is finally time to do a deep dive on how awful Jason Light has drafted the team since 2021. When the best pick you've made in all 3 years is the punter, there's a problem. I said this at the beginning of the year, that Jason Light's drafting resume is going to be either confirmed or exposed at the end of this season. There's so many key guys that we needed to see more of, right? To make a judgment on. So like JTS, right now, bust, complete bust, awful. Not like just a pair of shoes.
Logan Hall, a Jag,
pretty much a Jag. Luke Geddes,
thumbs up on
Luke Geddes. Bucs Basement. Cody Mauch, still have to, so far, thumbs way down.
Not as bad as Geddes was last year in that spot, though. I think he's a step above what Geddes was last year.
Yeah, we're looking for the tallest midget there. not gonna. I don't know how much we're gonna accomplish there, but so yeah, I think, and we still have a lot of season left to go. So but I think it's Robert Hainsey. We'll see. But listen, Jason Light produced a Super Bowl winning roster. It brought Tom Brady and Bruce Arians here.
He did.
But if you're isolating the drafts from the last couple of years, yes, I think you have to do
Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah.
Rashad White. Still the jury's out. It looks like a one-dimensional back at the moment.
Yeah. So yes, I think that is fair. Baker has 1 year, a deal for a reason. The goal is to win the division or wild card with Bowles and Baker or stay on. It's all about Brady cap hit in 2023. Absolutely. And honestly speaking, if you're looking ahead, would you say, I would rather go forward with Baker Mayfield at $20 million a year or dip my toe into this very deep quarterback field that's coming out this year?
That's an easy decision to make.
It is.
It is.
It is, right?
The list of quarterbacks that are going to go up top, I mean, ignore the top two because the Bucs aren't going to be picking for them.
No.
But after that, I mean, if Shedeur Sanders comes out,
there's some players.
Watch out for him. Jaden Daniels. The more I watch Jaden Daniels, the more I'm seeing that he's a pro. He's a pro guy,
bro. No, I said that when I saw him last year with my own two eyes, and with his first game at LSU. I mean, the second half, FSU couldn't tackle that guy, and he's got a cannon for an arm. He looks fantastic, and they are putting up buttloads of points.
Yes.
There's probably and 5
he's probably
or 6 guys.
And you could throw in some people like Penix. I'm scared of his injury history and the fact that he's already 25 years old personally.
So
that's
like
why
the older guys.
I know they're experienced, they come in and all that, but I don't know. I'm circling Jaden Daniels right now. I'm falling in love with Jaden Daniels, but we got a long time to get there, but definitely that's a guy I think for where the Bucs probably are going to be picking.
What about the guy that's 2-0 against Jaden Daniels?
Respectfully, he's a college quarterback.
Jordan Travis.
Yeah, respectfully, he's a college quarterback.
Yeah, his arm, we've said this for a long time, and he's improved dramatically. But but man, he can move, and he runs so well, and he's so smart, and he's a great leader. I don't know, but I think that the major point is: would you rather build this new team around a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract for the next 5 years, or would you rather pay a middling Baker Mayfield, a Geno Smith salary?
Where does that get you? Where does that get you? It gets you a one-way ticket to mediocrity.
Right. If we were sitting here with a running game, and that's what this. If the rest of the season, if they can somehow develop a running game, and I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. And he become that quarterback that took Cleveland to the playoffs, that had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. We don't have backs like that. We don't have a running game like that. We don't have a defense, frankly, like they had in Cleveland that year.
Yeah, there's too many things that have to be perfect around Baker Mayfield for it to work.
Right.
And that's why I think you're always going to be kind of swimming upstream with him as your quarterback.
Yeah, and you'd still have to pay him that Geno Smith level, that second tier starting quarterback salary, unless it really, really changes in this next few weeks. I don't see that. We got to, it started out great and we were all happy. And I was like, hey, I think he can have a really good year. But the thing that has always held me back from really getting excited about this team is the coaching staff. And they are showing why. As the season progresses, they get worse because they refuse to make personnel changes that need to be made. They refuse to make scheme changes that need to be made, and everybody catches up and they fall behind. It's the story of Todd Bowles' coaching career. Yeah. And that's why he has a losing record.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Jordan G, he chimed in here, by the way, on Baker. He said, I'd sign Baker to another one-year deal, but I do not think he's earned $20 million anywhere in the league next season. But if he likes playing here, I'd sign him to more, $8-10 million, and draft a quarterback. I think that's fine. Yeah, if you want to sign Baker to one of those Mitch Trubisky level deals or Tyrod Taylor, Teddy Bridgewater, keep him around. He's a veteran. He's good for your locker room, clearly. I got no problem with that. But I think for the long-term success of this team, and we've been saying this, by the way, even when Brady was here, it was great. But you know what? The best teams in this league that have staying power, they draft and develop quarterbacks.
Right.
And the Bucs have never done that in 50 years as a franchise, and they've got to figure that out.
It's hard to do. Well, at least for the Bucs, certainly. Yeah, and I would say I'm just, I'm impatient as hell. You know that, Nick. If you lose to the freaking Texans and they go out and play and they put 10 points on the board, I'm done. It's Kyle Trask time. It's Savassier Dennis time. It's every young player I got is on and playing. And that's not me. It doesn't mean I'm giving up on the season. It means like, why am I going to do the same, put the same guys out there that just aren't playing hard, won't play well, or are not playing well? And I got guys to see. I need to see what Kyle Trask is. Let's freaking go. If you lose to the Texans this week, that just lost to the Panthers, it has a completely depleted offensive line. I'm sorry. It's time to move on. So I think it's Baker's last stand.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I tell you what, I'm in need of a break because I've got the dog barking, as now you can hear.
Let's go. Quick break. All right, break time it is. The Jeeves Law Group is the place to go. If you are in an accident, they will represent you vigorously against these insurance companies. If you have a hurricane claim, let them handle that as well. JEEVESLawgroup.com. Scott Jeeves, you hear him on the program all the time. Great dude, very approachable, and he will work his ass off for you. That is the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Back in 3 minutes, and we've got Jane Geddes coming up. We've got Pat Burnham coming up with the Osceola, so stay with us.
Sitting around the house. Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back, kids. Don't forget, we'll be at the patio tonight from 5 to 7 o'clock to kick off your weekend. Peter Blake will join me there for our Football Friday happy hour kickoff. $1 off beer and wine. We'll have $4 White Claws, seltzers, $4 White Claw vodka drinks. So come on out, join us. Beautiful evening. Got to get out and do a little happy hour and watch football tonight, watch football on Saturday, watch football on Sunday at the patio. No better place to be. So come on down. We had a great time last week with at the Halloween party there. How was your Halloween, Nick?
Pretty quiet.
No kids coming by?
We went over to Casey's in-laws, so I did the old put the what do you call it, the bucket, the Halloween bucket outside the door, put the crappiest candy that I own out there, keep the one that I like in my house. Her family doesn't have many trick-or-treaters, so it was a pretty quiet Halloween for me.
Wow.
I'm not a Halloween guy.
No.
I don't do the dress ups. I don't do parties.
Yeah, I went to Steven Stamkos this year.
I saw.
I have the the little ones here. We had a great time. We got lots of candy too. I'm a big Baby Ruth 100-gram bar. We got plenty of those.
Those are that's the old man candies. Baby Ruth 100 grand.
Yes. And it's so good.
Do you remember? This is when I knew, by the way,
What's better, Nerds?
Oh yeah, the Nerd gummy clusters. I got an abundance of those.
Ugh.
I'll tell you. Speaking of Halloween, real quick,
Too sour.
I'm just reminded of a soundbite from I think 2017, and this is when I knew Dirk Cutter was a dead man walking in Tampa Bay, when he revealed that his favorite Halloween candy was Bit O' Honeys.
That's old man. That's old man candy. Wow, how is Baby Ruth old man candy? That's still a very popular.
Nobody my age eats Baby Ruth.
It's the best.
I'm eating gummy clusters. I'm eating gummy clusters. I'm eating Twix. I'm eating Skittles. I got the little mini M&Ms that are meant for kids, but I still eat them.
Twix is just a Baby Ruth knockoff.
Get out of here. You're full of it.
Caramel, peanuts, chocolate. Oh, it's the best. In that very distinctive shape that you that you get. Yes, absolutely. The best. No, so I got plenty of those, and I did raid the kids' candy to cherry pick some of those.
The big question around this time of year has the Christmas decorations gone up? Where do you stand on Christmas decorations?
Well, it's funny because Ashley was taking down the Halloween decorations. We never even had really Halloween decorations. Now people go all out for Halloween as well. So she's like, "All right, should I just leave it blank?" And I'm like, "Nah, let's just put up the Christmas stuff. It's November. Let's go. I love Christmas. And I'm always like, how can we? Everybody else is doing it now, so why not just go to it? Let's go.
You got lights going on the house?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. There'll be more lights than this house has ever seen. Because when I owned my house, bro, I was complete Clark Griswold. I had multicolored lights. You could see it from space, baby. You could see it from space. So yeah, I'm gonna do it up nice here. Very tacky. Gonna be very tacky, just like me.
Just don't blow your back out. Be okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So the Bolts last night lose 4-2. Did you watch this game? I watched the whole game.
I tuned in. I missed the first period. Saw the second and third period, which both those periods kind of told the whole story of the game.
I just, I think Stamkos said it best. It's like we've been in this position so many times that we have a lead in the third period and we lose our identity. And we lose our identity and we give up too many good looks. And I'm starting to think it's kind of more of a desperation play. I just think that this team has had maybe so much success that when the other team turns it up a notch, they're just not answering. And that's what the third period's all about. That's when, that's when you get your most intense hockey. That's when guys are going the most. It's just human nature, right? Especially if they're behind and you're trying to protect the lead.
Well, I mean, the second period, I thought and usually the second period is the stanza where they don't play their best hockey, and that's been a problem last year that had trickled into this year. But what were the shots in the second period? Like 12-3 Lightning, I think it was something like that. Yeah. And they just couldn't get the puck to go in the back of the net, and that's going to happen. That's going to happen from time to time. And then the third period, they took a few penalties, I believe. Three penalties, right? And those are killers, and those are things that you're not going to win hockey games that way. And got a goalie in there, Matt Tompkins. making his second career start or whatever it is.
He wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad. That's the thing with the Lightning, that it's like none of these games where they lose, am I going, oh, it's the goaltending. Like,
No.
I don't really rush to that. But also, it's like I'm not going to sit here and like a lot of people last night, I know this is the X culture that we live in. Man, the panic button, y'all just like have it sitting next to you like constantly. And y'all just can't wait to burn. I mean, I'm reading comments on Twitter yesterday, and nobody's questioning these people. Everybody's liking these messages on Twitter. We're just a mediocre team. It's clear we're not going to make the playoffs. I'm like, damn, people. I mean, we're 10 games into the season. You think the Lightning are like in a lottery position right now. They're 2 points from second in their division. Like, the sky is not falling, people. It's not. Do they have some issues? Yes, they do. Number one, they haven't won a game on the road.
Not one.
This season. They haven't won one on the road. This team, if you get them to overtime, you might as well just go ahead and write the extra point up on there for the other team, because they can't win in overtime.
Brutal.
They don't even possess the puck in overtime either, by the way.
No.
They don't even get close to it. But, last night, it's frustrating, but I'm not going to say it's not frustrating. You have every right as a fan to be frustrated. It's frustrating to watch because we know that there's better in this team. But I think they've earned over the years that I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, because there's still so much talent on this team. There's a lot of new pieces. And one of those new pieces got on the score sheet finally last night, by the way, in Connor Sheary.
Yep.
And hoping that he can continue to get better as he grows in this role. But, yeah, it wasn't great. Not going to hide that. And John Cooper, I have his audio here once we want to go to it, but he was pretty blunt as well in his assessment. It's nice to know that some coaches around this area will tell it like it is.
How refreshing. Yeah, let's go ahead and play Cooper, and as we listen to what he says, juxtapose this with a Todd Bowles press conference.
All right, pull it up here.
As the Bolts lose 4-2, once again giving up 3 goals in the third.
It's coming. He's coming in right now. 3,
2, and 1.
A long one. There we go.
Brought to you by Advent Health.
Able to get that first road win.
We're just finding ways to lose games. That's it. I mean, that was a nothing game. That should have been easy and over. And, you lose a face-off and don't tie the guy up corner of the net. And, now it's anybody's game. And
we're buffering.
We're buffering.
The dreaded buffer.
His mouth wasn't moving either. Oh, don't we love the Wi-Fi? Hey, at least Stamkos got on the board last night as well.
Yeah,
he's had so many shots that were on target not go in, but nice to see him go off a skate, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
John, come back to me. Come back to me, John.
All right, doesn't look like we're going to get Coop.
The dreaded buffer.
No, it happens.
But no, I can sum it up, though. He said, we're finding ways to lose games, and he even kind of said, we lose our identity sometimes. It might have been him or it was Stamkos, I think.
No, Stamkos said, let me see if I got the quote here. It says, we tried to talk about when we have leads in the third, let's continue to press, keep playing the same way. So I was disappointed that we didn't do that. Sometimes I feel like we lose the identity of our team, and we've got to figure that out. We've been put in these positions a lot over the years of having the lead in the third and knowing what to do, and we just gave up too many looks. So true. And Coop said, we didn't have any push. We haven't taken penalties all year, and we found a way to take 3 in the third. If you want to give yourself a chance to lose, those are some of the things we're doing, which is why we're losing games. We're playing 55 minutes of good hockey and 5 not so good, and it's burning us. I think that's a pretty damn good description of what happened last night.
And I appreciate the honesty, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I think he's got his finger on the pulse of this team and where they are and what they can be. Remember last year, after the Lightning were going through a rough patch, what did he do? He sat the top line for a whole third period and sent that message across. So
Todd Bowles ain't doing that.
No. Isn't it crazy? You could sit your best players, right?
Yeah.
And nobody bats an eye. There's no dissension in the dressing room. Like, none of that in the NHL. It's different sports. I get it, but no, it's too early to press panic buttons on certain things. I I'll tell you this. I mean, if you're looking for things that do concern me so far throughout the season, if I can find one in 10 games, is the play of Nick Perbix in particular. He don't look anything like he was last year.
Yeah,
last year he was
weird.
confident. I mean, but I don't know what it is. Expectations being raised, I don't know, but he don't look confident this year. I mean, if there's one thing about this Lightning team, I think that's always going to concern you, it's the depth on the blue line.
Yeah, that's with every team, just about.
That's just about every team, but I think for this Lightning team, that's kind of true. But I mean, listen, they're going to win. They're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. They're not going to continue to struggle, I think, for a large part of this season. And if they do, you got a general manager there that's not afraid to make moves.
That's right.
And to change things up. So I think that's where I'm at with this team at the moment. And I will say, too, yesterday, this is just nitpicking, but, you know, I thought they pulled the goalie a little early yesterday. 3 minutes to go in the game. I know Cooper's pretty aggressive, but they didn't even possess the puck after they did it. It was so quick.
God. Yeah, it's just, and I think, you know, he's used to doing this because he knows his team will possess the puck most of the time. But lately, like so far this year, there's just been, you would think in overtime, and this team for a stretch there was just dominant in overtime. Remember, it's like we love to go to overtime. We never lost. And we had the formula, whatever it was. Now, you know, it's same guys that are going out there, but the result is ridiculously different. So I know Coop tried to mix it up with Glendening last game to get the face-off, but he didn't win it. And then he's out there for, you know, a minute 26 when they don't have the puck, so that's no good. Yeah, it's just, you know, they're trying to find some things, but it's a long season. I still think they have a core that's more than good enough to get them into the postseason. And so, you know, Coop knows that it's a journey, man. It's not only do you need to munch points, to get in there. I get that. But you gotta work on your deficiencies and try to get players in positions that are going to make this team Stanley Cup worthy. You know, it's identifying where those high ceilings are and getting those guys in those positions to play to that high ceiling. Right? That's the essence of coaching.
Listen, would I want them to win more games through 10 games? Yes, of course I would. So don't get that twisted in what I'm about to say. But I don't want them to be playing their best hockey right now.
No.
I don't. I know everybody's like in all over Boston, and they picked up another win last night against Toronto, and they're 9-0-1, and that's great. But look how that turned out for them last year. I mean, how many playoff series did they win? Same amount as the Lightning, who largely limped their way through. So I'm not going to, no panic buttons need to be pressed. To me, you just hang in there. Just hang in there and then peak in March. Just hang in there.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. I wanted to get to one other, and by the way, so now they have 3 big games. I mean, you got 3 divisional games now. You've got Ottawa on Saturday, right? Ottawa on Saturday. And then you have Toronto and Montreal back-to-back. You know, you got to win one of those games. And you've got to – this is your division. You got to start making a stand in your division. And Toronto, for God's sakes, before they start getting in your head, you got to get a W against that team. So these are 3 really important road games, and I know Coop knows that, and I'll be very interested to see how they perform in all of them because they got to be better. They got to be better. All right, I wanted to get to this story that Nick will hate, and this continues to be standard operating procedure for the Rays and Mayor Welch and what's going on in St. Pete. So yesterday, they, I guess the St. Pete City Council, I'm trying to find the story on the Times. I'll just do it from memory. Basically, the council said, we're not going to have a straw poll vote. One of the city councilmen, I think it's Floyd is his name, basically said, you know, why don't we in this upcoming election put it on the ballot? It would not be binding, but at least we could get a feel for what the electorate wants us to do in this situation. Now that all the numbers are out there, there's been some public discussion. I don't think nearly enough public discussion. There's a lot of the city council folks that are looking at the numbers and going, what the hell are we doing? You know, you're selling the land to the Rays at 30 cents on the dollar, which I don't understand. I mean, is this good for the city? Is this good? Is this what residents want? And the council wouldn't even allow a straw poll vote. Why would you not want that? And furthermore, Rays and Hines will refute when asked for their cash flow projections, which is part of the public record. They said, no, it's not part of the public record, and we're not going to give it to you. So the councilmen and women are asking for, let's see what the Rays are going to make on this deal. Like, what are their cash projections, and what is Hines going to make on this deal, so we can kind of see where the value is in this deal, and if we're giving away too much. And the Rays and Hines said, no, we're not going to give it to you. We're not going to show it to you. I mean, how's that work? How's that? This is such a boondoggle that they've had to negotiate the entire thing in secret. And even when you come out and bring it to the people are going to have no say. The city council wants you to have no say. You know why? Because they know overwhelmingly the people will say, no, we don't want this. And then they'll have to go ahead and rubber stamp, which is what they're going to do anyway. Well, how is this a good process in any way, shape, or form? And how is it that this city council is going to continue to give away money and be in business with an owner who has absolutely for 15 years rubbed your nose in it, that you're not a Major League Baseball city. St. Pete can never be a Major League city. How many times has Stu said that? We got to go to Montreal. We got to go to Tampa. Suddenly it's the best place. Why? Because they're giving away the entire key to the city. It's the biggest sweetheart deal ever. And it's going to be a huge failure because it's still in the same location. And how that they can continue to do this in secret and not expose the information to the people this is the biggest public expenditure in the history of St. Petersburg and Pinellas County. And they're going to go into this with a businessman that has universally, absolutely, at every chance he could, downplayed St. Pete as a major league city. And it's been no friend to the recent mayors who have tried to redevelop the Trop site. Just go talk to Mayor Kreisman or Mayor Foster or any of the mayors that come before him. And you're going to do business with a guy who's being sued by his partners for fiduciary fraud, serious fiduciary fraud. All these questions, I mean, as I've said, there's more red flags than at a Bucs home game. It's unbelievable, but yet they're going to continue to go forward with it and try to keep everything on the down low so none of the people know what the numbers are, the real numbers. I don't know how Major League Baseball, well, I know they don't like it. We still haven't heard from the commissioner. I don't know how the people of Pinellas or St. Pete are going to be okay with it. It just seems like this is the same thing that happened in Miami. As our friend David Sampson said, it's the same playbook. And they're going to end up with a terribly located stadium that nobody goes to with $1.2 billion to pay off in debt. Doesn't sound like a really good idea at this point for where the economy is and what needs to be done in St. Petersburg. So,
well, barring an ownership change, at least the way I see it, barring an ownership change, I don't see another a solution for this because there's just simply not enough time. I think we're already against it. We are against it, and I think I heard Brian.
They can continue to play in Tropicana Field.
Yeah, sure, but it's not
for another season or two. It's America's ballpark. Why wouldn't you want that?
I have no problem with that. I've been telling you all this time, just lift the damn thing up with a helicopter and plop it somewhere else. I love the stadium. That's my home. I'm going to be sad when they detonate that thing.
It's about 5 to 10 years from being retro cool, right? But it's in the tweener point right now, right? You can't wear it out, but still got to stay in the closet. But at some point it's going to be hip again, right? Yeah. No, I don't think that'll ever be hip. That's the design will never be hip. So
yeah, I'm just more focused on what Major League Baseball thinks. And again, it seems so hard to pin Rob Manfred down and get
he hasn't said anything as far as I've seen. Have you? I haven't seen him make one statement about this.
No, right. So
weird.
I don't know. I've accepted it. I just have. I don't know. My energy is like almost gone for the stadium.
I know.
My energy is towards the actual team.
Yeah.
My in particular, how are we going to build the first championship team for the Tampa Bay Rays? That's where my energy is at. And of course, that still comes down to dollars and cents and how much you're willing to invest in your product and your baseball team, similar how the Texas Rangers were able to just do it. And I saw you put a tweet out. What was it, after they won?
Yeah.
And you put out all the players they've signed, and not every single deal that they signed exactly worked out. But you know what? The two main ones, take DeGrom out of the equation, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien. I mean, Corey Seager that guy's a Hall of Fame player and is one of the greatest postseason players in the history of baseball. 2-time World Series MVP.
And he costs money.
And he cost a lot of money. And Marcus Semien, one of the most dependable, just every day he plays, and you know what you're going to get. Paid him a lot of money as well.
And they answered the bell in the postseason.
And there he is. And then
Nathan
they
Eovaldi,
found
former Ray.
Nathan Eovaldi, a guy who shoves in the postseason. Just had one of the greatest postseasons. I mean, Jordan Montgomery, they went and got him. I know Scherzer didn't contribute much, but they went all in, is what I'm saying.
Right.
You have to go all in.
We haven't seen since 2003. Since 2003 Marlins, every team has had an opening day payroll over $100 million that has won the World Series since 2003. So, as our good friend Evan Klosky and I went back and forth on Twitter on that, spending money doesn't guarantee you a damn thing, but not spending money guarantees you won't win the World Series. That's what that tells you. Since 2003, the last team to win a World Series with less than $100 million payroll. That's a long time, and it's getting worse. Because other teams do go all in, and that's who you have to compete against. And you're not, and the Rangers, how different are the Rangers than the Rays? What have they done? Well, they've been able to build a new stadium and a Texas Live. By the way, did you see that video that Tim had from Texas Live?
Yeah, that was crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. Why can't we have that? We should have that.
Listen, I continue to be jealous of every other, just about every other franchise I continue to be jealous of.
Texas built a new stadium where they went halves, right? They went halves with the city. Atlanta did the same thing. Both of them have won World Series on the backs of being able to have more revenue because of new stadiums and surrounding areas. Yeah, which is okay. You say, well, that's what they're doing in St. Pete. Yeah, but that's not where you should build it. What did the Braves moved it to where their fans are? Arlington is in the middle of Dallas and Fort Worth. It's in the middle of the market. You got to go to the primo location to get the biggest bang for the buck. Everybody comes, you make more money, you put it into the team, you win a World Series. It's not rocket science. Let's go. But
right. And again, we're not asking, and let's preface this again, and we've said this, but I'll say it again. We're not asking for $200 million payroll.
No.
I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for legit.
Get to 100.
Give me, 100 would be it. They've never done 100.
No.
But give me, and they said it. Listen, there's a chance. They said it after the season. There's a chance that we're running a payroll and we're willing to go up to 125 or something like that.
Jesus.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it then. And that's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking for. The Rays have been able to get to a World Series. I think that year it was like 80-something was the payroll at that time when they got to the World Series in 2020. It's like, just imagine what you could do if you just spent, and I'm asking for like 2 impact bats. That's all I need. I just need 2 proven bats that when we get to the postseason, the moment's not going to be too big for them.
Right.
That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens.
Yeah. It's not too bad. All right, let's transfer over to talk some Florida State football with our good friend Pat Burnham from the Osceola and the Rivals Network. What's up, Pat? How are you, my friend?
Well, here, let me add Pat into the stage here.
Did you not hear my long, wonderful introduction of him?
Listen, if you learned anything from the Cooper audio, I don't have the greatest. I got the Wi-Fi thing popping up on the stream here telling me it's low. So
I get that all the time when we do ours too. So
yeah.
Listen, we got to change the subject. You guys are getting way upset about baseball. Baseball season's over. Just end it. You got hockey season. You got football season. You got the Bucs with a big game this weekend.
That's right.
UCF's got to try to get their first Big 12 win in the history of the program.
Oh, Pat, don't
There's
do that.
all kind of things going on. Florida State's got to try to clinch the ACC title. Billy Napier's got to beat Arkansas. Or
we talked about all that before you came on.
All right.
Most of it anyway.
Right.
I had to take 5 minutes to update people on what's going on because there's no other media outlets that do that in Tampa Bay, evidently. So I have to carry the water for everybody to let them know what's happening.
So my take is the stadium is in question now. The stadium that was all right.
Yeah, it's always in question until the shovels go in the dirt. And even then, I'm going to be skeptical. But, yeah, it's very much in question.
Hey, yes, I've always said to move it to Lakeland and let Tampa and Orlando have one team.
Stop it. All right, now let's talk about. We could talk about the new stadium stuff that's going in for Florida State. Huh? That's they're putting like $280 million into our erector set, right?
Horrendous.
Yeah, and listen, it's going to be a interesting next year for home games. That's for sure. There are a lot of seats going away. I think they're going to have. I think it's going to be reduced drastically for next year. I think there's like 8,500 temporary seats going all over the west side. It's going to be fascinating to see. I don't understand all of the renovation. Like there's these low-level clubs that don't look like they would be a great ideal place to watch a game from, but you're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to rent one. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what the stadium looks like.
Palm trees and summer camp tables over there on the field. I mean, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Maybe we can get a winding river running around campus and
Mr. Lazy River.
Isn't that what Florida did? Doesn't Florida have the Lazy River? Or is that UCF?
That's UCF.
I still don't see a lazy river. It's still not there.
They still haven't built that yet?
No, we got like 4 stages of construction going on for 20 years. It'll get there at some point.
I thought
so. The Lazy River and the new baseball stadium in Tampa about the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. So, I mean, do we have to talk about? We don't need to talk about the Pitt game, do we? Can we just talk about last week's game?
Sure. Hopefully, this will be. Hopefully, it's just hit rinse and repeat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Pitt's not very good, particularly on offense. They're really anemic. They've got a quarterback that's starting his 3rd game. He is not in his starts. Has not been a 50% completion guy. He's been 46 against Louisville and 48 against Notre Dame and 52 for the season. He's played in just about every game, but they got some issues on the offensive line. They do not run block very well at all. They're 85th, I think, in yards per carry, 3.3. They're a little bit better at protecting the passer, but certainly a matchup that Florida State's defense should be looking its chops for. They only throw the ball to 4 guys. You know who they're throwing the ball to. So it's a good matchup for Florida State's defense. Obviously, if you worry about anything, it's Florida State's kind of beat up on offense. We didn't see Johnny Wilson last week, Des Hill, Hakeem Williams. You got 3 of your better receivers out last week. Will they play this week? They're, safe to say they're questionable based on the fact that they didn't play last week.
Hold them for Miami.
So. Yeah. So listen, let Jordan do his thing for 2.5 quarters, get build the lead like he did last week. But yes, certainly at face value, I'm watching Pitt right now against Louisville, and at face value, this looks to be something that Florida State just needs to take care of business. You're going to have great weather, 55 degrees and sunny in Pittsburgh in November. So it's setting up well for Florida State. Jordan Travis is playing his best ball, and we got second half of the season. Trey Benson seems to be in full form.
Wow.
So listen, things look good, but no, I'm not as listen, this is not the game I thought it was going to be when the season started, and you had guys like EJ Manuel on ACC Network saying that Pitt was a quarterback away from the ACC title game or contending for the ACC title. That's not the team we've seen. Obviously, they got their upset out of the way against Louisville 2 or 3 weeks ago. Narduzzi's going to have this team ready to go. I mean,
right.
How long can they stay with FSU, I think, is the big deal. And I think Florida State obviously doesn't need to gift wrap any drives for them, hold on to the ball. But yeah, this is a game Florida State should win. I mean, they had the issues with Narduzzi making comments that the players reacted to after the game. So not only did their staff have to
explain that to the folks.
Well, essentially, they got slaughtered by Notre Dame last week, 58-7. And, when you're a coach and when you're a player, you get beat like that and you're sitting there for 3.5 hours on national television getting pummeled, you get frustrated, you get angry, you get pissed. And he came in and said, listen, we had some really good football players on this team last year, and they did. They've got about 4 or 5 kids from last year's team that are playing NFL, particularly on defense. They had a couple offensive guys too. But long story short, he came out and said, I thought we'd done a good job of replacing our good players with good players, and essentially told everyone in America that they had done a bad job of evaluating who was on their team, is essentially what he said. and that he did not have a very good football team. I don't have the
classic
exact
passive aggressive way of saying my players suck. It's not my fault.
And you could if you have listen. That's all right to say as long as your players don't respond. But when your players start responding on Twitter to what their head coach is saying, you might have a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
Now, I did listen to his press conference on Monday. He says that he did speak with his team as a full team and then met with some guys individually. He felt like they understood where he was coming from, and that to some extent maybe he did not explain what he was trying to say well enough. Listen, kids forget about things. Kids are resilient at that age. We'll see if there's any ripple effects from it, but listen, there's been no drama coming out of Pittsburgh. No one's entered the portal after this, so maybe he did right the ship. But he had two battles going on on Sunday and Monday, trying to win his own team back and get ready for Florida State.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you real quick about these rankings. So obviously Florida State 4, we love that. I mean, you're there, and you control your own destiny, right?
Yep.
But does it just frustrate, I guess, you, like if you were a college football fan, and the inconsistencies of how they judge these things? Because in one breath, it's, well, Ohio State's the number one team in the nation because they have the best resume. So theoretically, that tells me that Florida State should be right behind them. But then we go eye test 2 and 3, and then resume gets bumped down to 4, and then we got head-to-head, doesn't matter after that with Oklahoma and Texas, and then other occasions it does. I mean, it just doesn't, to look at it from just from afar, I just don't, the inconsistencies are just so frustrating.
Well, yeah, listen, it was frustrating because, listen, I don't have Ohio State number 1. I don't even have them in my top 4. I mean, if you look at their offense is awful, and they have Marvin Harrison Jr. So, listen, they have a really good defense, yes. But listen, Georgia should be number 1. They've won 25 or 26 games in a row. They're starting to play their best football.
Yeah, they are.
Until somebody beats them, you got to keep them number 1. I know I had Washington number 2. Everybody's complaining about the defense, but they can score against anybody. This is a offensive-driven sport anymore, and they have one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the nation. They've been able to score against everybody outside of Arizona State, and they're getting knocked for that. But then, Michigan, sign stealing or not, what they've done, their margin of victory is 24 points. That's the closest one they've had all season. Now they haven't played anybody, but I had Florida State 4. Now, listen, if I gave everybody the benefit of the doubt for being undefeated outside of Ohio State, I had Oregon at 5 for me. Right. I'm not sure Oregon's not the best team in the country, but since we've still got 4 games to go, I'm going to give the undefeated teams the benefit of the doubt for now. But yes, listen, what you got was a lot of word salad or whatever they call it from the commissioner of the College Football Playoff Committee. What he said was a whole bunch of nothing. Now, listen, here's the thing.
That's my boy Boo, man. That's my boy Boo.
He needs to be booed. That is true, because he did not say anything that made any sense, and they never do. Right? I agree. It just gives us stuff to talk about, which is great. But listen, this thing will work itself out. We all know. Listen, there's 2 ways to look at this. What the committee did on Tuesday night, when you have Michigan and Ohio State in there, both from the Big Ten. They're doing one of 2 things. They're just giving them credit for being undefeated right now, knowing that's going to change. Or, if you really want to read into it, are they sending the ACC and the Pac-12 a message with that ranking? You better be perfect or you're not getting in.
Right.
And so that was kind of my read on it. If you wanted to try to read the tea leaves and what are they telling these schools? But I think it tells with having 2 Big Ten teams in. I get confused with all the conferences because all the schools and every one of them. But anyway, yeah. So listen, I think that was telling. What they're telling the Pac-12 and ACC is your champion better be perfect because it's going to get real murky. Because if they got a loss, listen, I had a hard time not putting Oregon in. I did. I thought about I'm not sure,
especially the way that game went down. I mean,
listen,
they lost. Yeah.
To me, Washington's got the best win of any program, and Oregon's got the best loss, and they're probably going to meet again. And listen, and then once we get into the one-loss thing, when do we start hearing the tide roll? Baby.
Here comes Alabama. This is why I don't get into this conversation right now, because we don't know enough.
Right.
Number one. We need to get a lot more information. So the final thing's not going to be done for a long time anyway. So I think arguing about it at this point is just silly because they try to make a logical arguments for the illogical. Yeah. There's no way to numerically rank these teams right now and know with any certainty whatsoever. We don't have enough information. For God's sakes, you would hope Michigan would have played someone by now that we would know, but they choose not to. So I think, you should ding them for that because they make their schedule. Georgia makes their non-conference schedule. These teams that choose not to play anybody while FSU goes and plays LSU and Florida out of the SEC in their non-conference games when, Michigan wants to play freaking Slippery Rock. Sorry, you're going to get dinged for that, and you're cheating. Get out of here.
And we're beyond that in college football now with those kind of games. Looks like Florida State has no business playing North Alabama.
It's true,
and
but at least they're playing two teams.
Alabama's going to play the Citadel or somebody like that, and that SEC always has that week.
But you got to play somebody, Pat.
Yes. Yeah.
If you have 4 non-conference games, you can't play 4 patsies.
Oh, I agree.
You got to play one. I know you agree, but it's like Michigan should get dinged for that. They should be 10th as far as I'm concerned. You haven't played anybody.
They need to go to where your P5s are playing only P5s.
Yes,
that's what. We're paying these coaches ungodly amounts of money to play. You telling me that Florida State? Those coaches are earning their money, and this applies to every school that does this. I'm not taking a shot at Florida State, but you're not playing Mike Norvell $7 million to beat North Alabama.
No,
you're not paying these kids.
And the fans, I don't want to go see that game.
Yeah, you're not paying these kids to beat North Alabama. You're paying them to beat Miami and Florida and LSU and every conference. But listen, they still got a ways to go to make this a perfect sport. That's for sure.
That's for damn sure. It's going backwards. It's going backwards.
But listen, this would have been the perfect year with what we're probably going to see happen towards the end of this year. This would have been the perfect year to have 12 teams in the playoff. And if I don't know if you saw the graphic they showed on Tuesday night during the show, but that 12-team bracket was unbelievable.
And how about those games being on campus too?
Yes.
Playoff game on campus? Are you kidding me?
Listen, I am so fired up for next season already. I can't stand it.
I know, right?
The conversations are going to be fascinating. And listen, every game, you don't have to worry about if you got a loss, you're still in it, right? I mean,
exactly.
So I think it's going to be fascinating.
Schedule from now on out, then they should totally be disqualified because you can afford 2 losses now and still get into playoffs. So be that as it may. All right, so back to FSU. A little bit about the Wake Forest game. I mean, we can't just go over. They beat us 3 years in a row for God's sakes. So that was a long time coming. What did we learn about the team? Besides the fact that Trey Benson's getting hot. And I think, and I have to do a little bit of a mea culpa here. 3 weeks ago, I said, I don't think this team's defense is championship worthy. They haven't given up a scoring pass in 4 games, 5 games?
Yeah.
They haven't.
I think the entire month of October.
Yeah. I mean, they have really turned it up. I know the competition hasn't been incredibly stellar, especially with Riley Leonard, maybe not at 100%.
Yeah.
But, let's give them their flowers. This defense is starting to really play.
Yeah, listen, they did what they had to do. They were dominant inside against Wake Forest, and that's where Wake Forest wanted to do. They wanted to run the ball inside. That's what they've done all year. And, obviously Braden Fisk and Farmer and the rest of the defensive line. We saw a lot of Daniel Lyons on Saturday. They did a great job of forcing those things out and letting the defensive ends and linebackers have big days. They did exactly what they needed to do. They are playing much better against the pass. Now you do raise a valid point. They have not, Wake Forest can't throw the ball. They don't have anybody that could stretch Florida State's defense out. Riley Leonard, we saw what happened when they came out of the ball game. Duke replaced the second team quarterback. Now they're starting true freshmen last night. So, some of it's been circumstances, but obviously they have gotten better throughout the year. Even against teams that can't throw the ball well, you don't see the blown coverages, right? I mean, the coverage is tighter. You don't see guys running free down the field like we did earlier in the year. So certainly, and it looks like to me based off what I'm seeing, is they've gotten a little bit more simplistic with what they're doing, and they're also bringing more pressure, which has helped the defense. We've seen Shaheem and Kalen be really effective blitzers, and when you got to account for those guys as well, and versus Peyton and Fisk,
I love that pressure package.
Yeah, you're gonna help your defensive backs out. I was listening to somebody talk the other day, and they talked about the improvement of the secondary at Florida State, and I think maybe they were right when they say, well, a lot of the credit's got to go to the defensive line, and I think it does.
Yeah, I love a lot of what we're seeing. We're seeing more guys play, more of the younger guys play, and offensively, I mean, I'm kind of turning towards Miami. Do you think Johnny Wilson will be back? Do you think Hakeem will be back? Do you think they'll be back to 100% by the time we get to Miami?
We'll see. I mean, I don't. They have not given us the official word on Johnny Wilson. My take, having watched him go down in 2 games, it certainly looked like a concussion the last time he went down.
Mm-hmm.
I know he was limping a little bit too, so maybe there's multiple things. Now, Florida State obviously has not released any information on that. It's just me having watched guys get up like that and having obviously gotten up like that myself a time or two. It looked like he had a concussion. Now, we'll see if he's had, it looked like to me, it looks like he's had 2 back-to-back concussions. I don't know if that's true or not, but that certainly looks like the reasons he came out of the ball games the last 2 times. Listen, that's going to be, you got to be careful with that, right? I mean, kids don't play through those injuries anymore. So we'll see. I mean, that's a nobody ever knows what the recovery times on things like that will be, but certainly you want Johnny back. You want to be fully loaded when you go to Miami, because they're going to come in here ready to go. So it's the 9th week of the season. Everybody's beat up. Everybody's playing through injury. I'm sure they're going to have some guys on Saturday that are playing through injury. Everyone is at this point. So, but yeah, I think the best thing for Miami, to your point, is get this game taken care of. Get Jordan Travis, Trey Benson, as many of your frontline guys as you can afford to get off the field early. Now, I think this game's got a chance to be a little bit closer than what everybody thinks it's going to be. But listen, it's a game that Florida State should win by a couple scores.
All right, a couple other things I want to get to. Since you're so long in college football doing just about everything, scouting, advanced scouting, you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
What is your take on this Michigan scandal? Much to do about nothing, everybody does it, or a little bit more serious than that?
Well, listen, I think the optics of it are awful. There used to be advanced scouting in college football long ago. I think they outlawed it in 1994. Now, the answers to most things are money, right? If you want to know the answer, just follow the green trail.
Follow the money.
All right. So did they stop advanced scouting in 1994 because everybody couldn't afford to do it, because of Troy State couldn't do it and Florida State could? But I don't know the reason they stopped, right? But it used to be an allowable thing. But here's the deal. Are we worried about if it's just about the end result? We know that this goes on every day. All right. So my example in Takeaway Tuesday this week was, if the Arizona Hotshots are playing the San Diego Fleet, and the Fleet have played the Orlando Apollos, the Hotshot coaches are calling their buddies on the Apollos to see if they can come up with signs and giveaways, like, does the right guard have his heel down in pass protection to heel up when they run the ball?
Right.
What does this sign? I mean, you do call your buddies and ask what they were able to pick up from the other team that might be able to help you. Now, you might. So there is some semblance of this going on everywhere. Everyone's going to watch the television copy and see if they can pick up a sign. Everyone's going to watch the all 22 when they get it and see if they can pick up a sign. So this has been going on for years, but so is it a competitive advantage? It's over the top? I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Right.
Are we going to find out that there's more people doing this than just Michigan? And listen, here's the other thing. I want to hear the full story. So is it the Stallon kid that's going and doing this, and he's doing it on his own? And if not, who is he hiring? Is he hiring some normal guy that's just worked a 9 to 5 and is grasping at straws trying to pick something off from his seat? Or is he hiring a high school coach that he knows that actually knows something about football? So, I mean, there's a lot of details that we need to learn. But certainly if he was at Central Michigan as, how to get the sideline, I don't think they've substantiated that yet. But, there was a picture floating around that the Styling kid was at a Central Michigan game.
Oh, he was there. There's video of him on the sideline trying to hide himself.
I mean, have they proven that yet? I mean, listen, a lot of guys with brown hair and goatees or whatever.
Wouldn't it be easy for Central Michigan to go, hey, that's so-and-so or that's such and such?
The interesting thing is his pass was for the visitors bench. It wasn't forced. If you look at the pass, it's got VB on it, which just stands for visitors bench. Well, go look at the pass. But he's dressed out in Central Michigan stuff.
Right.
So that's go look at the pass. I'm pretty sure you're going to see that it says visitors bench.
So they gave him a pass so he could get into the visitors bench, and that was Michigan State, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously he's in Central Michigan gear, so if that's the case, either he went and bought a bunch of Central Michigan gear, tried to blend in with them, or somebody gave it to him.
Yeah,
but I'm not even sure it's him yet. So I want to find out if it's him. But yeah, listen, I am not hand wringing like most people are.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get to. So you don't think it's everybody's trying to do it? They may have been a little bit over the top, but it's not. It doesn't affect the game that much because
I think everybody's looking for a competitive advantage, and I think that. How Michigan is getting there is different than how most people are getting there.
Well, I've always wondered why, if people are using signs, why don't you? It's easy to record those. I mean, you don't have to, be a freaking genius to take an iPhone and go just record the signs from any seat in the in the arena. Now, the fact that he bought these tickets with his own credit card was pretty stupid. There's a lot of stupid things that went on, and it was like they didn't even care. Like it was out in the open, like they didn't care if anybody even found out. It was so openly done. And, the information's on his computer and all that other stuff. But I see this, though, Pat. Everybody else, these other coaches in the Big Ten, they think it's a big deal. And others, is it just like, oh, we're pissed that they're good? Or I think these other coaches and other assistant coaches seem like it's really a big deal. Whatever they were doing, it's really a big deal.
Well, I know the Purdue head coach came out this week and said, we got video evidence that they were at our games.
Right.
So, listen, the coaches and Big Ten are the ones going to have to those coaches in the Big Ten and the Big Ten Conference itself are going to be the ones that have, at the end of the day, determine exactly what happens here. I'm fine with whatever happens. I just listen. If they were to throw Michigan out of make them ineligible for the college football playoff, I'm happy. I'm just saying. But listen. But I do think that. Listen, I had a guy tell me a long time ago. Where there's big time money, there's always going to be big time corruption.
That's for sure.
And these guys are paid handsomely to win ball games.
Yeah.
And they come under great pressure when they don't. I mean, they would like to go ahead and keep on cashing these checks as long as they can.
Yeah.
But listen, you got Billy Napier who's under fire every time they lose. Everybody wants him fired. I mean, these guys are trying to figure out a way to keep their jobs. I mean, so listen, it's a little bit. It's probably somebody. I was talking to somebody last night about this whole thing. Whatever your take on the Houston Astros cheating scandal was, should probably be your take on Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Because we all know that cheating goes on in baseball. It has for years. You get whether it's spitting on a baseball or Vaseline on a baseball or listen. I always thought sign stealing and like I don't. When I played baseball, if the catcher was going to let me see his fingers, I was going to look back and see what.
Sure, and that's the whole thing, and that's what this is. Well, is that if you're just trying to do it organically, it's fair. When you're doing it electronically and you taking the video, matching it up with the plays with the all 22, and putting artificial intelligence in there as well to come up with all the signals. It seems like to me, well, if that's against the rules, there's a reason they have these rules. You shouldn't be doing it. There's a reason why they're trying to keep it into the human element and keep it out of the AI sphere or whatever,
Yep.
the electronic sphere. And that's what the Astros were doing. They were using video and high-powered binoculars to get the signals. So once you start taking it to that level, I think everybody says, all right, that's ridiculous. Let's just, try to keep it to, whether I can look like you were doing, look back and see the signals.
Yeah.
So,
Well, listen, it's over the top. There's no doubt.
Yes.
My question is, what can they do? What are they willing to do?
Right.
Listen, I'm not going to, right now the Big Ten has shown they've not made a statement. They've kind of just rolled with it.
Right.
But listen, I think this probably gets Jim Harbaugh out of Michigan.
Yeah.
I think this gets him to the NFL. No, the NFL's come out and said,
don't send him here.
Please. They're gonna punish him the same way the NCAA would. And I don't believe that.
For a heart. No.
But listen, I think that what this does at the end of the day, it's likely that there's been nothing but embarrassing things going around the Michigan program other than football, right?
Right.
He was suspended for 3 or 4 games. Was it 2, 3, 4? Anyway, he suspended himself before the game. Then you got he's had to fire a coach for some kind of illegal computer activity. I don't know. Yeah. I've not heard. And then you got this. Listen, he talks about being a Michigan man. I think the best thing he can do if he's really a Michigan man is say, listen, I got to go. I'm bringing too much negative press to my alma mater. But listen, but before I get all upset, I want to know that they verified everything. I want to know, was he sending his girlfriend to Central Michigan to pick up signals? I mean, I want to know. I mean, there's a lot we don't know, right?
Yeah,
other than something nefarious was going on, but we need to get to the details to know the severity of it. But yes, Ryan Walters from Purdue said that they've had to change their signals for this game. But at the end of the day, he goes, it is what it is. We got to go play a football game, and we're looking forward to this opportunity.
All right, Pat, thanks for coming on. As usual, my friend, they can find you. Tell them where they can find all your content.
Yeah, let's just go to theosceola.com or floridastate.rivals.com. It'll take you to the same place, which is theosceola.com. And I've got my scouting report on Pitt there. I've got my Takeaway Tuesday article where I get into a little bit of what I call the big blue line. Where do you draw the line, the big blue line in the sand with cheating in college football?
The big blue line.
The big blue line, yeah. And then we've got our Kurt Weiler, our senior writer, did a extensive interview with Garnet, the Goldfish's owner. And so that's up today. If that's your thing, it's pretty.
There you go.
It's pretty interesting story about why a man would take a goldfish all over the country to watch a football game. But that goldfish has ended up in Florida State's locker room. So,
that's fantastic.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thanks, man. The great Pat Burnham right there from the Osceola Rivals Network. All right, quick break. We got to pay some bills here. When we come back, our newest advertiser, LPGA 2-time major champion, WWE executive. She is known for many, many, many things. Jane Geddes will join us next. Stay with us. Quick break. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA 2-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
Back to the JP Peterson Show, and we want to welcome in our newest sponsor, and as we like to say in the spot, there is nobody like Jane, the great Jane Geddes, joining us here. What's up, Jane? How are you?
I'm good, except for I just lost my screen. Hold on a second.
Well, we can see you and we can hear you, so you're.
I can't see you, so give me 1 second.
Well, that's probably a bonus, actually.
There we go. Now it's
right.
good. No, I want to see you guys.
Yeah, there's.
Hi, JP. Hi, Nick. Haven't seen you. I've seen JP. I haven't seen Nick in a while.
Yeah, we got to get out and play golf again. Come on
I know
over.
we do. We do.
Well, Rondé's going to be here next Wednesday. Next Wednesday would be a good day for both of you to come because Rondé's going to be at Palmacia doing a Valspar promotion.
Very cool.
Yes, and we'll have food and drinks for everyone and golf. So
that's awesome.
Let's make it happen. We want to welcome you aboard, not only just to pick your brain on golf and a lot of other fun stuff, but also on real estate, because now you've turned your attention, your vast experience to real estate, which is quite an interesting game right now in the Tampa Bay area, to say the least, right?
It is. It's been, we're really lucky that we live in such an amazing place. And I know it's kind of cliche right now with Tampa, and everybody talks about, oh, Tampa's great, Tampa's great. But we really are. I mean, real estate has, well, it's slowed. And it's a funky time of year right now too, with school happening, everything. So it's never like, really jamming right now. But we live in such a great area that, real estate values and buying and selling and whatnot is still, it's still a really good business for, buyers and sellers. And, there's, it's not like we're deal central right now. So, so we're holding steady. But we, again, because we live in such an amazing area, and especially, sort of has a lot of my focus is the South Tampa area. That's where I live. Have that supply and demand. We're surrounded by water
Right.
on, almost every side, and there's only so far you can go. So anyway, so it's great, but thank you. I'm thrilled to be aboard. Thank you very much for your little bit that you did on me. It was kind of fun to hear and kind of funny, made me laugh, but
it's all true.
But it's all good.
True. It's all true. There's nobody like you. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Jane has won a U.S. Open, won 2 major championships as a golfer in LPGA, and I forget how many total tournaments. 14.
14.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right off the top of my head. You also were a major executive at WWE and in the great wrestling time, and worked for and with all these incredible people. So you've done that. You've done you have a law degree. I mean, you've done a lot in your life, and that's just scratching the surface. So yeah, you're a pretty unique person.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I know my career has been really crazy, and I look at it like I look at so many things that like sort of fate. Things happen for a reason, and I would have never guessed that I was going to be a professional golfer, and then I was never guessed that I would be as successful as it was, and then work for WWE. That was an amazing experience. That when I got the first phone call, when someone asked me, the recruiter asked me about it, I kind of laughed and I said, I don't know anything about it. And, but it was an amazing experience. And I look at all of everything that I've done and going to law school. And, I look at all of that. And when I sort of apply it to whatever I'm doing right now, I'm doing real estate, and, I use all of it, which is really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I use every component of what I've learned in all those crazy different careers in what I do in my career now, whether it's working with, our clients or just on the business side of it, on the contract side. There's so many little components of it. I don't tackle anybody. I don't jump over the ropes, or I don't do any of that, any wrestling, but I use every bit of what I've learned along the way, which I think is what makes me unique,
And I think Nick wants to ask you some questions about wrestling.
No, come on.
He's already asked me those
I've asked
questions.
her
We've gone
everything.
through it.
Yeah.
We've gone through the wrestling, right?
Yeah.
But tell the people what it's like to walk into a meeting with Vince McMahon and all those characters, and what is that even like?
It's characters. I mean, here's the really cool thing. The really cool thing about WWE, and this is from the people that work there. When we worked there, it was sort of standard as WWE is a huge entertainment conglomerate. And oh, by the way, there's a little bit of wrestling that goes on. So if you think about it that way,
Yeah.
There's when I was there, over 1,000 employees. Everything is done in house. It's like they hire the best and the brightest and the most talented people that are hugely passionate about that industry. Like the people that work there are so passionate about entertaining and wrestling. And then, then you turn to the superstars, the talent that are there, the men and the women, again, to put themselves through this. I say, like, people say, yes, well, wrestling is fake. Oh, okay, fine. It's fake. It's choreographed. But I'm going to tell you, if you jump off a top rope and land on your back, it hurts. I don't care. Like, it's not padded. It's not like, around the edges of the outside the ring on the floor, it's a little padded, a little. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you it hurts. And, these guys and girls, they go out and they perform to the nth degree, and they come back through the curtain and they are battered and bruised. And the more battered and bruised they are, the happier they are, and the better. It's like a crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
And the more people are booing, the better it is, and the more they're cheering, the better it is. It's like such an amazing place, and so I loved my time there. It was a really, really cool kind of stage right turn for me, but it was really a cool place to work.
I'm so glad you explained that to JP because he doesn't listen to me or even entertain me.
He
When I
doesn't
try to
believe
tell
you.
him these things about wrestling, he doesn't. He takes his little digs every time I bring it up here. So
I
thank
grew up
you.
with
I
Florida
hope,
Championship Wrestling with Dusty Rhodes, the bionic elbow. Those were the real men. They was getting real. Yeah, that
I
was the
know.
real stuff.
I
No,
know. I know.
it
Really
but
cool though.
to see it grown into the business it is just
Oh, it's amazing.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
We'll see the Royal Rumble going on here, but and that's completely different from your golf days where you know the LPGA was extremely competitive, and you know to win a major championship, to win a U.S. Open, I mean that's the highest level of, and you're competing against the world. I mean, and that's something that you always will have on your resume. What are your, I mean, when you think back to that time and what it took and the dedication and the practice, what did you learn from that?
Well, so it was my very first tournament that I won. And that in and of itself was weird, you know? Yeah. So I went into the tournament not hitting the ball very well at all, which is, you know, lesson to everybody that plays golf, thinking that, you know, I don't hit the ball well on the driving range or something, I'm going to stink. Well, that is not the case, right? So I was not hitting the ball well, and I went out and played some really great golf that week on a very challenging golf course, in addition to there being an earthquake and a train wreck and a plane crash. And we had like disaster central that week in Dayton, Ohio.
Wow.
We were being evacuated from hotels and restaurants and everything. It was all happening. And then we were playing a golf tournament. But you know, it's interesting when you're going through that, and you hear about people like in the zone or, you know, in the peak of their career or something. And you think it's like things go from being so hard to all of a sudden, like I'm going to play like this for my whole life. Right. Like, so I win one tournament, I go the next week, I win. I followed up with a win the following week, which is very unusual. Then I go on and I win 7 tournaments in a year's span. And I literally thought I was going to play like that forever. I thought I was going to be the greatest golfer forever. And then I wasn't, you know what I mean? And where it's like, and I think every athlete,
and therein lies a lesson.
It doesn't matter, right? What you're doing, it's like you're on a roll in it, and you are just so there, and everything is so easy, and then it becomes not easy, right? And so but that's life. And golf is very much a game of life. And you know, I just feel so fortunate that I got to experience that. I got to experience like the highest of highs. You know, and I had a 20-year career, so clearly it was, you know, a lot of things in between and a lot of hard work that went in. You know, to the process. It is what it is, right? With it, just like every athlete.
And tell us a little bit about the real estate business and your business in particular. Are you exclusive to just South Tampa and South Tampa only? And how does the process work if somebody wants to reach out?
That's a great question. Thank you, Nick. I live in South Tampa, so you know, I clearly, as you kind of go out from here, I clearly know a little bit more about the market here. However, we have clients from that reach, you know, all the way up towards Crystal River and down all the way to Minnesota Key. So, and everything sort of that circles in between there. So, you know, the process is, you know, very nice of you to be scrolling on the screen here, my contact info. But it's about reaching out, right? You know, go to our website, gettysgordongroup.com. Check us out. I partner with my sister-in-law, Patty Gordon. It's sort of a 2-for-1 situation. So Patty and I attempt to be, and I think we're about 99.9%, you know, it's worked so far that one of us is always available. We have the same email address and we have the same phone number. So the phone number that people have, the 813-485-6808, that goes to both my phone and Patty's phone. So we're always available. So, you know, and here's the thing about how we work. And this has become evident because we have basically become friends with, I think, all of our clients at this point, like dinner friends and hangout friends and people we've never met. One of my clients is I'm the head coach of the Berkeley Prep high school team, golf team. One of my assistant coaches is a client that I met, like sold he and his wife his house. So
now you're coaching
Patty
together.
Patty and I, we you know, we like to get to know people. We call ourselves sort of a concierge, low stress sort of, you know, group. And that's our tagline. And we really get personal with people in a really good way. We want to make sure that buying a house is really personal, and it's emotional on a lot of different levels, and you're spending a lot of money, generally speaking, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we want to make sure that what we're doing to help, our clients be happy is go all in with them. And so, it's super important to us. The people that, like I said, the testimonials that we have and the friends that we've made through our business have shown that, hopefully we're doing a good job. And we want to continue that.
Well, you already got a client from our advertising here. That's
Really?
how fast it worked. Yeah. That'd be me. That'd be me. I'm over here in Orlando now. We're moving back to Tampa.
Awesome.
And we want to find a place in South Tampa or somewhere in the Tampa area. And I'm counting on you. And this is why you need a realtor, folks, because I know a lot of, with all the stuff that's on the web now, I think a lot of people think they can do it themselves, right? That, they can tour the houses and that those are all great tools. But what people don't understand is their houses that come on the market maybe before they come on the market, that the realtors know a lot of different things. And you've been in the area, you have friends, there's a network. And it's not only, the stuff that is out there, but it's the stuff that maybe isn't out there that's going to come up for sale, or people that you've talked to before. And that's why you hire you and your sister-in-law, because you guys have all these connections. And I'm counting on you to find something for me that, will be a needle in a haystack. And so you have a customer. And
can I say one thing to that?
Yes.
Can I say one thing on that? Here's the thing and this is the cool thing now about real estate and so kind of the world we live in. Every person that buys a house is like an expert on Zillow and Realtor.com, right? So everybody's super educated now, which for us is a bonus.
Yeah.
Because what we say to our clients, and we'll say to you, is, hey, go on Zillow, make sure you share everything that you want, that you like with us. We're going to do it on our end. We're going to create this portal. We're going to create this really cool thing where we can have all of the houses piled in something, so we really know what you like, and work with you on making sure you get the right home for you and your family. And that's really the key. And we love educated buyers. I mean, that's kind of part of it. And really what realtors do is, yes, JP, you're right. There are things that come on the market every now and then that we can grab. But really for us, it's navigating you through the process so that you don't have to worry about all the little things that go with it to get it right. Right. So that's really where we,
talk
that's
a little
really
bit about that process. Like, take me through the process. Like, how are we going to do it? So if there's somebody out there thinking, okay, I want to do this with Jane, like, take me through the process. What's it going to be like?
So you say, okay, JP, we're going to start this process. We're going to have a little conversation about, price range, beds, schools, things that are important to you, the must-haves and the nice-to-haves. Okay.
Right,
so we're going to create that list for you, that personal JP list. Then we're going to create a portal, an online portal, where we're going to consolidate all the houses that we share with each other, whether it's through Zillow or whether Realtor.com, or whether you see something driving down the street or things that we push to you. We're going to consolidate that into a portal where we can share notes and we can say yes, no. We can see when things might be sold or go pending or anything. It's sort of our sort of central place where we can keep everything organized. At the time you say, you know what, I'm interested, that's where we really now start doing our job. So now we create a comparative analysis of the houses around the area to make sure that you are, that you're making an offer that number one is the best offer for you financially, but number two, the offer that we feel like can get you that house. Right? Because we can all sit here and say, well, that house isn't worth that, so we want to offer that. Well, if somebody doesn't take the offer, it doesn't matter, right?
Exactly.
Our job is to navigate you through that. Once an accepted offer comes, then we really go to work. And then, we work on the contract with you. We take you through that process. We take you through the inspections. We make sure that you hit all of your deadlines, escrow, inspections, anything that needs to be done. And then we're at the closing table with you when you close on your house. So that's where our sort of, concierge service comes in. And if you were listing your house, it's an additional side of that, making sure your house is, is it showable? We help with staging. We help with whatever it takes for you to get that job done. So that's the sort of concierge side of it.
And pricing the house at the right price.
Absolutely. And that's all that comparative analysis around the area.
Yeah. All right. Well, looking forward to it. So we'll
Awesome.
probably start that process probably January, February of next year.
Great time.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah.
All right. Well, before you go, I got to pick your brain about golf. We had Gary Koch on yesterday, your friend Gary Koch, our friend. And he spared no holds barred on the American Ryder Cup team that I think two of the guys played a tournament in the 5 weeks leading up to the Ryder Cup. Yeah. Two guys, that's it, on the whole team played in the 5 weeks leading up, played in a tournament. While as the entire European team played in the championship the 2 weeks prior. It just, to me, that is so grossly unacceptable that these guys can't, it doesn't mean enough to them that they would go play in some tournaments, because they certainly wouldn't do that if they were playing in a major. They would have played, 3 weeks out of the 5 leading up to it. And it makes me so angry that they just don't care. What are your thoughts on what the whole deal?
When I heard it, I don't remember who told me, but when I first heard it, I didn't think it was true.
Right.
So I went and I went and I kind of just went online and I was like, that can't be true. There's nobody would do that. Like, I can't imagine maybe a week. Like there are players that would take going into the Open or going into a big event, they'd take the week before to prepare. Right. A week.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I heard that. I don't know where that strategy would, like, how that thought process. It would be bad if one or two guys, if one guy did it.
Yeah.
They would be, that person would be ripped, right? But the fact that 5 guys or whatever the number you said, that is just, it's outrageous. And so what I don't know from that is we could make the assumption they don't care. It'd be so shocking for me to think that we had, American players going to play in the Ryder Cup that didn't care. That would be just appalling. But is it more just like, who did they really get together and strategically say, don't you think this would be a good idea for all of us just not to play? Don't you agree? Don't you agree? Because that's almost what it sounds like.
Well, the Tour Championship was 5 weeks prior, and there are no real. And here's the thing: there's no great events in the United States during that time. They're smaller, but all of them were invited to go play in the European Championship event that was 2 weeks prior. That the entire European team, they all could have played in that. I think only Justin Thomas and one other player did. But it's like no tournaments, because those aren't prestigious tournaments. Maybe they're not as luxurious. You don't get the same bennies as you get at the other. It's fall season, whatever. I mean, how do you not play competitive golf? Because I don't care how much you're practicing, as you well know, right? Yeah. Tournament golf and practice golf are two completely different things. No, and it's, and then, some guy not going to wear the hat because, they're not getting paid or what. I mean,
unreal.
What an embarrassment.
It was embarrassing. I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for them and as a golfer, and like, even if you feel that, even if you're feeling that way, like that, to me, that is not the platform. That it just is not.
Right.
I mean, if you want to talk about it after, you're still going to have the platform, whether you're a Ryder Cup player. Yeah. I mean, I just don't. I think all of it was just. It felt. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. It felt juvenile or something. I don't know. Like like here these guys are so spoiled, and and it just is on the heels of all the live things and the money and the money and the money and the money. Is that really? Do they not make enough money even if he doesn't get paid for the hat? Honestly.
And they still get paid, by the way. $200,000 their favorite charity.
It's like,
yeah. And all of them have Ryder Cup bonuses in their contract.
As a player that went through an era of women, listen, I lived in I played in an amazing era of golf, right when women's golf started taking off, and we were on TV and we were making money, and relatively speaking, but still, like, there's never a time that because we felt so privileged.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I felt so privileged to be doing what I was doing, that to go out and like talk about it that way, and and create a situation, on the national stage, when you represent, all you're doing is representing your country, by the way. You're not representing yourself.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It felt, I didn't like how it felt.
Yeah, you played on Walker Cup teams, I'm sure, and right?
Yeah, Solheim.
Yeah, in Solheim. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you
I
played,
captained, and I was assistant captain twice. So
Right.
I've been like around, I've been in both eras, right? I played on it, and then I was also in the era of a little of the younger players than me, and I was a assistant captain to Patty Sheehan twice.
Right.
And I mean, it's so about the tournament and your representation. You're not, you're representing the United States. That's all it's about.
It means something.
It means
A
I've
lot.
never been, so the time I played, I was nervous for 18 holes like the entire time I played, the whole time. I've never been nervous like that in my life, ever.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
so
it means so much.
it's a big deal, right? Because it means so much. So anyway, it just made me feel like, ugh, I didn't
Yeah,
want to watch
I
it.
agree with you. Well, Jane, thank you so much for
Yes.
joining us and jumping aboard, and we hope this is extremely successful. So any of you folks out there, even if you're not sure you want to buy a house, give them a call and have
Absolutely.
an initial conversation, and she'll be able to give you the lay of the land of what's going on, and so you'll be able to make an informed decision of whether you should buy now or wait, because of interest rates and a lot of other things. But there's so much more that goes into it besides interest rates. So this is why you have to have the conversation with Jane and figure it out. So there you see the number at the bottom, 813-485-6808, if I can read that correctly. Thanks, Jane.
Thanks, you guys. Good
All right.
seeing you.
See you soon.
Take care.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
All right, Nick, that'll do it for us today. And we appreciate everybody jumping on today. Pat Burnham and Jane Geddes. If you missed anything, and you know where to check it out, folks. YouTube, you can please go to Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, and subscribe to the JP Peterson Show. Make sure it's the latest link, by the way, the one that's updated on every day.
Right. And you're about 2 minutes early, so real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We get started late.
I know you got started a little late, so just real quick, your feeling. We talked about in the first half hour, the Bucs Texans. We did the whole preview. Is it your feeling that they snapped the 3-game losing streak ultimately this week? What is your expert prediction going into this?
They got to win this game. They can't lose this game. Not as beat up as the Texans are. They're just too good. They're too talented, and they're making too many basic mistakes. And if it boggles my mind that they could continue to be this bad as they've been. And I know that, oh, wow, JP, they're just a Hail Mary away from winning. No, they're not. You got to look deeper, folks. Well, against the Falcons, we could have won. You got to look at the tape. And we're so lucky to be in both of those games. I mean, the Falcons, dropped the ball at the 1-yard line twice. I mean, that was a 3-score game. It was at least a 2-score game against the Bills. Don't let the scores fool you. But they have the talent to be better if they're willing to put some other people in and coach them up better, for God's sakes. So I'm gonna give Todd Bowles one more shot and say they're gonna get it done this week. And not like it's a monumental accomplishment, but I think they're gonna get it done. It
won't be crisp, as I said, but at least for this week, they will not provide me pain in the loss column. I think they get it done. I'm going to say 23. I think they're going to score 23.
23?
And I'm going, crossing my fingers on that one. 23-17. Very close, very ugly, but 23-17 Bucs.
Well, they don't beat anybody by a lot, I guess, except the Saints. I'm going to give them 24-14. I'm going to say 24-14, a 2-score win. They're going to get 6 sacks because I picked them as my fantasy defense this week. 6 sacks.
Good luck with that. 6 sacks.
And an interception.
Ooh.
I'm calling for and I won't be stupid enough to say it's going to be a corner, but an Antoine Winfield interception and 6 sacks for this defense.
Wow.
They're literally playing against guys on one leg or guys that were, driving a UPS truck 3 weeks ago. So if you can't get pressure on CJ Stroud in this situation, God help you.
Hey, 4-string center or whatever it is, Michael Dieter. Have you seen that trend around the league of teams putting their best pass rusher right in front of the center to line up?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, hey, let's get crazy. Let's try something new.
What?
Is that allowed?
I think, what? Somebody told me, and I thought this was an interesting on Twitter, that they should make Devin White play the Micah Parsons position. Like, that's just put Servassier, then move him to the outside edge and just say rush the passer. I'm like, yeah, You fix two spots right there, because I think he could be a good outside pass rusher. Just say, go get ball. Get off the ball and go get the quarterback. That's all you got to do. I think he can handle that.
Yeah, if he's got some good moves to get around, left tackles and right tackles and stuff.
And he decides to play hard. Yeah, maybe. I'm just maybe. But you got to maybe lose 10 pounds and try to decide to play hard, and maybe you could be Micah Parsons. You'll never be Micah Parsons, by the way. That's never going to happen. But I at least you aspire to do something out there, because the position he's playing, he's not very good at all. All right, let's hope that happens. Who you got in Dolphins Chiefs, by the way?
Oh, the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs are going to lose 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out. And the Dolphins against good teams, they fold.
They're not.
They fold.
Yeah, they're frauds. They're pretty. They look nice shiny toy, but no, they're frauds against good teams. I'm with you on that one. All right, folks, have a great weekend. I'll be at the patio with Peter today from 5 to 7. Please come down and join us. We're going to watch some football tonight there. We're going to have a couple of cocktails probably for happy hour and have a good old time. So come join us. We'll have some giveaways as well. We'll have some T-shirts. Come see us 5 to 7 at the patio. Have a great weekend, Nick.